Hey guys, how's it going? Underground Geek here. So I know I haven't done a video in a little while. I've had a lot of things going on, been really busy, but this is something that I really wanted to talk about, so I decided to do a little video on it, kind of tell you guys what's going on and tell you guys kind of what I think about what's happening around here. And there seems to be like this widespread thing going on now where it has a lot to do with Comicsgate and anti-Comicsgate. You know, a lot of people are, I've heard some people and read some people say on there that the Cold War has went hot, so to speak. And what they're talking about is the Cold War being Comicsgate, and it's kind of just been this thing going back and forth between some of the pros and some of the fans and customers, and then also some of the pros on the other side, so to speak. And then all of a sudden it kind of blew up because of the pros. You had this thing where a comics pro, they had died, and the wife had posted a post about it, and people were, you know, a couple of people had went on there and said some mean things here and there, and then of course they used it as just a blanket wide thing on everybody that has anything to do with Comicsgate is bad, they're terrible people, you know, just like they always do. But if you just sit and wait and watch these people, they always do something worse every time. They can't help themselves. It's the lack of morals and it's the lack of respect for customers that really kind of shines on Twitter. And the reason being is Twitter has really become like really just a crap posting website where people get on here and just talk trash to each other. Well, the thing is, long story short, if you're an important person, you really shouldn't run your own social media. If you're a public figure, I don't think you should run your own social media, because people are not competent enough 24 hours in the day not to do something stupid on here. Okay, something's gonna come out and you're gonna say the wrong thing, except that they go around actually trying to intentionally say the wrong thing a lot of times, and they go after people, and I don't really understand why they do that, because really all it does is take money out of their hands. You know what I mean? When you alienate the fan base that are paying for things, no other business does that. No other product does that. Under Armour doesn't go around saying we hate people, you know, that I know of. You know, I've seen a couple of progressive commercials here and there that have kind of dumb, that didn't really help them at all, but they don't go on Twitter and just badmouth the customers. You don't see Jeff from the Birmingham store getting on there and saying, well, if you don't like so-and-so and if you're not progressive, don't buy our shirts. You know, it doesn't work like that. Well, the comic pros that have come in the last 10, 15 years do that. They come on there and they bash everybody. And so back to what I was talking about, some people had said some mean things about a widowed comic pro wife, and they'd use this to just run amok. Well, then all of a sudden you had these people on the left and the right, so to speak, of the conversation, doing this like Twitter-wide, comics are for everyone, comics aren't for everyone, and we'll go into that in a minute. We'll go into Ethan Van Sciver and his butthole mess in a minute. But so this is a big thing that I want to talk about right here with Jeff Lemire. Jeff Lemire does Gideon Falls, which I'm a big fan of. Okay, I couldn't wait for it to come because Jock was doing a couple of the covers. Jock is a comic books artist, cover artist that I really like. And Jeff Lemire had never really done anything that I saw to really make me not want to buy his product. So when it came out, I was really excited about it. And some people don't like Gideon Falls that are my friends on here, but I always really liked it because it was a really good original horror story. It kind of reminds me a lot of American Horror Story. If you watch that TV show, some of the ways that they do this and kind of tie it into supernatural things reminds me a lot of that. So when it came out, I was ready for it. I even did a video right here. You can see it in the comments. I did a video of it. So he decides to go on Twitter, and here's the thing. Here's the thing that keeps happening with these comic book pros. They get a little bit of traction, and then they get really mouthy. Have you noticed that? It's kind of like when a music artist makes their first CD. It's very generic. It gets very popular. Everybody loves it. Lady Gaga is an example. She came out with her first album. Very popular. It was party music. Everybody liked it. And then her second album came out, and she was nuts. Okay. It's the same thing with this. Jeff Lemire gets some traction with different things that he does. Gideon's Falls starts doing good. And then he posts this thing here. Comicsgate is based on fear, intolerance, bigotry, and anger. The comics creators emerging today are too talented, too smart, and too loud, remember that, to be beaten by these weak people. It's time we all started standing up for one another. Okay, so basically what you're saying is certain people that you deem suitable need to stand up against Comicsgate people. Well, the Comicsgate people are customers and fans. So you're telling people that make a product to stand up against these weak people, the people with dollars in their hand to buy your product. That doesn't sound very good to me. I don't think that's a good idea. So let's talk about what he says here. They are too talented, too smart, and too loud. Too talented and too smart? Who are we talking about here? Are we talking about Jock? I mean, he's established. He's been around. Jeff Lemire is not new. Bingle is somebody that I'm going to talk about in a minute. They're not new. They're newer. That's the reason they actually have some common sense. But it doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, you want to sit there and call people weak, and you're saying that you're too loud to be beaten. That's the thing. They want to be loud. SJWs have learned this tactic of, if we're louder than you, we win the argument. That's what a lot of people have started to do here lately. They said the loudest one wins, so to speak. They used to be a tactic that little children use, and now these full-grown white men are using it. And it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I mean, you can't yell louder than me on Twitter. All you can do is say the last thing and try to block me. That's what they do. They literally have no power. Like this, all this going back and forth on Twitter has no power whatsoever. All you do is take money from the other people that worked on this comic book with you. Like Jock, for example. You're taking money out of his pocket because you want a virtue signal. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I commented here, I said, it saddens me seeing you jump to these conclusions without talking to some of the people in the community. Because that's what they are. They're a community. They're diverse. They're your fans and support you. I would say maybe talk to them and see what they're really like. And then I even shared a video here where I did commentary on his book. So obviously I'm buying his book. And then the first response I get is from this dude that says, have you considered that maybe he has talked to people and that they are everything that he says they are, and that maybe, just maybe, you're unwittingly allied yourself with shitty people? And it's like, allied myself with people. You're acting like it's a battle. That's what the thing. They're acting like this is combat. These are people standing up and saying, I want to give you my money, but you won't stop being a jerk to me. That's literally what this is. And my response to him was, my 1,400 followers have been nothing but nice to me. Okay. I mean, out of all those people, there's probably 5 people that I dislike on all of the community, and I'm not even following them. All right. So you're invalid. Because for me, just to have 1,400 people, okay, if you've got 1,400 people, let's say that they all buy the product. Let's say 1,400 people. Let's do, like, what's the book nowadays? Let's lowball. Let's do $3 times 1,400. I mean, that's $4,200 right there. That's 1,400 copies. That's what a lot of low books do nowadays that aren't very good. And then you've got some people on here that have 10,000 followers. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. If they go out and buy one copy of your book, that's a lot of money. It's $30,000. I mean, I don't really understand And then you got some people that charge $6 a book. Good Lord. I mean, these people really need to get their act together. So that's one thing that I want to talk about there. There's a few other things. I did this tweet the other night. Sorry if I'm giving you dizziness right now flipping through here, but I'm trying to find this commentary I did pretty much on Comicsgate as a whole, and just how I feel about it. But let's talk about this right here for a minute. So Tom King comes out as one of those people, because this is what I'm talking about. All of a sudden there was this huge thing where you had people in Comicsgate saying comics are for everyone, and you had people that are not Comicsgate coming out and saying comics aren't for everyone. And here's my thing here. I said these are two very different views on comics and two very different levels of pro. Who gives a crap who made comics originally? Because that's going to go into what Tom King says right here. That was a very different, hardworking generation that showed up, did their job, and left. Nowadays, it's been used as a medium for agenda. Okay, let's see what Tom King said. He says, comics aren't for everyone. Created by the children of immigrants. You're a white guy. It is the medium of the outsider and the outcast, the nerd who won't fit in. We exist, we thrive because we recognize and amplify the voices of those who struggle mightily to be heard. We say, I'm here. You're completely wrong, actually. You're completely wrong. Why does it matter if they were created by immigrants? They were American citizens. What you're trying to sympathize with is illegal immigrants. That's what you're trying to go with. And people like Stan Lee were Americans. People like Kirby, they were Americans. They came to work, did their job, and went home. They were the American way. So you're trying to ally yourself with the false sense of security that doesn't matter. And they always try to say that they're struggling mightily to be heard. Tom King, you're verified, and you're a comic book writer for DC and multiple other companies. You're doing all right. Okay, you're not struggling. If you are struggling, it's your own damn fault, because maybe you should be better at your job. And I like Tom King, but this stuff right here makes me mad. And then we have Bingle here. Bingle's kind of new. She does art for different books, and it says, comics are for absolutely everyone. Whatever I create, I'm 100% always hoping it will be read or enjoyed by the most people from the most different backgrounds, origins, ethnicities, opinions, orientations possible. And I'm always hoping to hear from them all what they want. Yeah, that's how you do it right there. That's pretty much saying, I'm trying to make a product, please buy my product and give me money. I'm a nice person. That's what Tom King could have copied and pasted that on there, and we got just as many likes and retweets as he did before, because this is common sense right here. I mean, it's because this person right here has not been in the business long enough to get saturated and jaded by this SJW feeling to jump out and be heard. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So anyway, going back, that's just one of the things that's going on. And then you have Zoe Quinn, big Gamergate person, coming out and saying some stupid stuff about the whole Comicsgate thing. I mean, they always talk about bullies and all this kind of stuff, and then they try to say that they're strong and then try to say they're weak in the same tweet. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But anyway, so if you go up through here, and then you got Tess Fowler coming out again. It's all these same people coming out and saying the same stupid thing and trying to be heard every time stuff like this happens. So if you go up to, see, here's another thing here. Here's somebody that I want to kind of bolster up, and that's Ryan Stegman. Okay, Ryan Stegman is an artist, and he's trying to get paid. Okay, he's trying to use his talent to do a good job. You see his artwork right there. He did a sketch for Venom. That's what he did. He posted that. He's like, please buy my product. You know, here's my sketch. I have talent. I mean, I don't understand why it's got to be so complicated. And you got idiots like this guy here coming out and attacking people. It just keeps going on and on. But as soon as I can find my post here, here's a very funny one right here. Okay, so you can't make this stuff up. It says, how dumb you gotta be to virtue signal about people's buttholes and then use a Frank Cho drawing. Okay, and there makes sense about this right here. This guy posts about all the fake outrage about Robbie Rodriguez, and then posts a Spider-Gwen outrage page, a picture that is a Cho picture. It makes zero sense. Their lack of self-awareness makes me laugh so hard. But here's the thing going on with that. Basically what happened was Ethan Van Sciver, that is a very good comic book artist, he got attacked the other day. Basically what happened was people were tagging him and tweeting pictures of their buttholes, basically. And so then after that, there was this big outrage about it. Everybody was getting upset. And then people were basically telling him he deserved it and he needed to go away. Yeah, they were telling him that. And that's because he's on the wrong side of history. That's what they always say. He's on the wrong side of history. You've got a regular guy here trying to make money on comic books, and people are just attacking him left and right. They can't not stand that he's successful. Now, I have my own discrepancies with Ethan Van Sciver. Because of the whole Indiegogo thing, I feel like you should really, you should try to do it within the company as much as possible. But I'm trying to find here where he was talking about. So here's one of the examples right here. It says, this guy here thinks it's perfectly normal to send photographs of your hairy butthole to comic book professionals that you hate. That's why he hates Comicsgate. Not enjoying sexual harassment makes him vomit. It says gay porno harassment, normal people. In case anyone was wondering what Comicsgate is or why it's an effective method. It's just stupid stuff like this, just on and on and on. They just get so upset because we don't accept them for like the vile people that they are. And they try to do stuff like that. They try for shock value because they know they don't have any real power. It's the same thing as a monkey flinging poo at the zoo. They don't have any ability. They don't have any power. They don't have any foothold in the company because they've tried their best to get in there and get power. And it's starting to slip right here. Like here it is. Here's the example right there. It really blows my mind. I'm sure if I go to his page, I'm probably blocked, even though I've never been on there. It's not loading, so I'm probably blocked. Yeah, or he got his Twitter shut down, one or the other. But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because it seems very counterproductive. It seems like they're trying to take money out of their own hands. And then we had this other thing that I want to talk about here in a minute where we started doing this Comicsgate. And if I can find it here, we started this whole thing where it's like Comicsgate is, comics are for everyone, comics aren't for everyone. Oh gosh, look at this one right here. It says Richard C. Meyer just made a video complaining about how he was banned from our sub. He was banned because we don't tolerate hate on our sub, and Comicsgate is a hate group. It is not welcome on our sub. I don't really understand where you get the hate group from. Seems to me like you're the hate group. And right here in the next thing it says, I support Comicsgate is not a hate group. I mean, if you're going one for one, like somebody tried to say that 3 women was this big deal the other day, that's one for one right there. So you're automatically you have no leg to stand on. But I'm going to try to find this thread that I posted real quick. Give me just a second. All right, so I thought it was pretty good. I want to show it to you because I thought it was pretty good. All right. Okay, so here's the last one. So if I scroll up, this is kind of lengthy. Give me just a second to read this to you. But it basically says, so I've seen a lot of hearsay going on about Comicsgate lately. Pros are bolstering each other up and getting others to protest the movement openly on social media. Never have I seen such open disrespect to customers like I have in comics. They openly badmouth a group of people for what one or two say on social media. This is the ultimate mean girl scenario, because words on Twitter ultimately carry no power. Sales do. The only way to voice your opinion is to sell. They don't understand that politics have no place in business and that bad customer relations and bad product results in bad sales. The only way to make the business better is to make good books. This resulted in a wide group of customers standing up and being counted. The customers came together as friends to tell the companies in one word and one voice, wake up. The term get woke is better used here. This sparked outrage in the status quo of comics who had gotten comfortable in mediocrity and pushing new age agendas in comics for the past 10 years. They attacked and spit on the customers as less than human for just asking for better quality. This continues to fuel the movement, which brought more numbers, which brought undesirables and even spies that staged themselves as customers just to shut down the movement. They failed. They will continue to fail because they don't understand us. We are too diverse and too common of folk to understand. We are normal people which they are not accustomed to. We work, we pay bills, we buy comics. This boggles their mind due to the mainstreaming of geek culture by companies like Sci-Fi and Disney. Geek is now a household name, and they associate it with plush clone troopers and Funko dolls instead of comics and manga. Still, here we are behind the scenes until a year ago when we said enough and started using our money to show them they are wrong, to tell them and show them another way. Join me in this thread by commenting and telling me why you joined the community Comicsgate. Tell me what or who showed you that good books matter and that you matter. Tell me why you love comics. Thank you. And so then we have a couple of people talking here. It says, I grew up watching anime, reading books, comic books from everywhere through the 80s and 90s. My family didn't have much money, so I stole a lot of them and visited the library a lot. All through this, comic books shows and taught us what our parents and teachers didn't. So he wanted them so bad that he stole them as a kid. It says, I kind of fell into, started watching YouTube videos, then joined Twitter. Found some folks gelled with. The Umbrella was the first to reach out to me, then some dude named Underground Geek. As for comics, there are two words why I got into them. Jim Lee. Okay. It says, because comics mainstream ones haven't moved beyond 1993. It says, a lot has changed. Normies have been integrated. There are a handful of toxic people. It's been monetized. I don't have time for this. It says, after a decade hiatus, I returned to my LCS only to find that my beloved hobbies, comics and Star Wars, were being poisoned by toxic ideology. That right there is what I'm talking about. That's almost the exact same thing that I went through. I took a hiatus off from them and got back into them when it was fiscally possible. And this is what had happened. It had flipped on its head. And so he's talking about real pros like Ethan Van Sciver, John Malin, and Brett R. Smith are revolutionizing the market. Now, I really think they are, but I don't think they're going about it the right way, because the Indiegogo stuff is just not going to change anything. It's going to make them money, but it's not going to change the market. It says, I grew up on Bruce Timm DC shows and the 90s Spider-Man cartoons and easily transitioned into buying comics, which is pretty much what I did. When I got a job as an adult and was able to afford comics on a regular basis, the ones I was reading seemed to lack the quality of the old ones. I thought I was alone in this assessment until I found Captain Cummings and through him Comicsgate. When I joined, I never thought I'd see the amount of vitriolic hate that I've seen coming from the industry. Pros, as an aspiring writer myself, I welcome criticism of my work, especially if people are going to give them hard-earned money to get it. And it goes on. There's more and more people on here. It says, I grew up watching X-Men and Batman on television. All I ever wanted to experience one of these worlds. Now I have the disposable income, but none of the books are worth buying. It says, comic book pros and journos throwing crap at customers. And who? Bleeding Cool and CBR. Without them, I wouldn't have heard of Diversity in Comics. See, CBR and Bleeding Cool single-handedly let people know who to talk to, because they would go to our page trying to see if we were as crazy as they said that we were, and then they would end up liking us and they would turn over to our side. And it says right here, it says, John Malin says, if DC Comics can't denounce artist Robbie Rodriguez anal pic sent to DC Comics Ethan Van Sciver, an action that violates its social media policy, and I'm sure Warner Brothers Entertainment policy, it will open the door for a level of harassment the industry has never seen. Now, this is a big deal because they just implemented this social media policy. Just did it. And now you have Robbie Rodriguez, which is a writer for DC Comics, going out and doing this kind of stuff. It doesn't really... Or for Marvel Comics, I mean, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, because they just instituted this thing because they're trying to go after people like Ethan Van Sciver, trying to shut them down, and then they're going to let stuff like this slide. You know, they're crapping their pants right now trying to figure out how to fix this. They don't know what to do because they're supposed to be the right ones all the time, and then they have these people going off on a crazy binge doing this stuff. But I don't really know what's going to happen. I just know that I want to talk about it for a little bit, because Comicsgate to me is what I just said in that tweet thread. I just feel like it's getting out of hand. We have people now on both sides doing this. Comicsgate is, and that's a whole different thing to me. If you look it up, people were, like, for a day or two there was posting, you know, this copy and paste tweet about how Comicsgate is this to me, Comicsgate is that to me. And I don't really think that's a good idea, because I feel like we go into this robot mentality where they're going to start calling us bots, and they're going to start saying we're not real people because we're doing stuff like that. Just make a comment. Just tell people what you think. Get on the comment section of this video. Tell me what you think about Comicsgate. I mean, I'm open to any kind of discussion, because I really feel like these people are getting unhinged, and it's only a matter of time before they slip up like they did here, and they need to be held accountable. They need to be told that this is not right, and that people just want good product. You know, it's getting crazy, but that's all I want to say, guys. I want to wrap this video up. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I know I've been going for a long time, but I'm working on something new. I've actually got a new YouTube channel that I'm going to be starting before long, so be looking for that. It's something new. I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are excited too. And as soon as I figure out what I'm going to do, I'll be letting you guys know. But thanks for watching the video. It's been a long time, and I'll see you guys later whenever I find the thing. Alright, now I'll see you guys later.